how we got here and the role the court played, and then take it a bit on from there. Might be a little boring, but I'll try to make it brief. So let me go back to saying, we all know that India is a multicultural, very diverse society. In 1931, when the Congress had the Karachi session, Gandhi introduced the Fundamental Rights Bill by saying that the essence of India is religious neutrality and religious tolerance. And he passed it at that time. At the same time, then and many years thereafter, there was a conflicting idea of India. It was first enunciated in, I think, 20s by Savarkar, in Who is a Hindu, where he defined India as a culturally Hindu country, as an ethno-religious identity. It's important to have these concepts because otherwise we can't understand why we are where we are. That's really the Hindu Rashtra concept. Now, ethno-religious identity, cultural identity, necessarily excluded all other religions and cultures. But Savarkar's gripe was about Muslims and Christians, because he said they neither treat this as their holy land nor as their motherland. The others he was willing to tolerate. Govarkar went a little further. In 1938, he said Muslims must entertain no idea but those of glorification of the Hindu race and culture. They may stay in this country, but wholly subordinated to the Hindu nation, claiming nothing, not even citizens' rights. These are important words because today you are living in Savarkar's India. Don't make a mistake about it. Govarkar went a little further. In the 30s, he talked of the minorities problem, and he greatly appreciated Hitler's ability to cope with the minority problems. In the 1940s, when this went on, both Jinnah and Savarkar believed in a two-nation theory. The difference was that Jinnah wanted a territory of undivided India which would be for Muslims. Savarkar said no, Muslims can stay in the same land, but living in a subordinate position to Hindus. That is very clear to him. Now, in 1947, there were conflicting views. There was the Gandhi-Nehru-Ambedkar view of a plural, multicultural India. And there was the Savarkar-Govarkar view, which talked of it as a majoritarian state, a religious, cultural Hindu state. In 1947, the Ambedkarites, the Gandhiites had their day. Rajiv Gandhi, speaking on this, said it's very important to realize that it's not a two-nation theory. It was a Pakistan and a multicultural, plural India. Although it's often termed by the RSS and the VHP as the unfinished agenda, because their view has always been that if the Muslims got Pakistan, it's a short change to say that the Hindus can't get the Hindustan. Basically, that's been the way it has. Now, we can fast forward. As late as 1973, the Supreme Court of India in Keshavanandi said secularism was a part of our basic constitutional framework. In 1976, the word secularism was introduced for the first time in the Constitution, when Ambedkar had been very careful to avoid the word secularism, because secularization and secularism is a whole new debate, which I don't want to waste time on now. But the 1980s, the problem started. The Congress Party, according to me, undermined secularism by playing up to voting blocks and stoking divisive pressures. In 1985, an inexperienced Rajiv Gandhi buckled under pressure from Muslim groups and bought the Shah Banu Amendment, which was really the beginning of the end as I saw it. Then concerned about losing Hindu support, and being called pseudo-secular, he sought to mollify Hindu sentiments by giving concessions on the Ayodhya issue. Don't forget that Rajiv Gandhi opened the gates of the Ayodhya mosque. People forget that it wasn't. In fact, the BJP was a non-entity at that time, and it did not have this on its agenda at all. The unlocking of the gates was manipulated through a judicial order with the aid of the Uttar Pradesh government under Congress control. Then there was, of course, the massive Ayodhya movement and the Babri Masjid demolition in 1992, where Prime Minister Narasimha Rao spent those 4 hours in inexplained solitude, doing nothing to stop it while everything was happening around him. The government then dismissed 4 BJP governments on the basis that they were too inclined towards the Ayodhya movement to do justice in the matter. In 1994, a 9-judge bench dealt with a challenge to this, the dissolution of 4 state assemblies, and said that secularism has a positive as well as a negative content. One of which was that the state and the executive cannot espouse a religion. And they said that was an affirmative duty. They even went further, that if a state government was to espouse religion and act contrary to the mandate of secularism, it should be removed as a failure of constitutional machinery. The only problem is, while talking about the states, they forgot that this could be at the center. And who dismisses the central government? No one. But it's a conundrum which no one had even thought of at that time. Now, immediately after the Bombay judgment of 94, there were state elections, especially in Maharashtra. A lot of campaigning went on Hindutva. If you remember Manohar Joshi's Hindustan state and all Prabhu's case and all that. The Bombay High Court struck down 12 elections on the grounds that they were clearly pandering to religion and religious identities. The matter went to the Supreme Court in 96. And it's interesting, but Justice Verma, and this is where the complicity of the Supreme Court comes in, which we must know, although people rarely talk of it. In 96, Justice Verma was part of the Bombay bench, now entertaining the matter in which vituperative comments have been made on Hindutva's basis. He then referred to diverse texts on Hinduism and then made the interesting sleight of hand movement which equated Hindutva with Hinduism. Then he said Hinduism is a way of life. So is Hindutva a way of life. So it's not a matter of religion. So there can't be bigotry. In effect, by that one movement, he undermined the entire secular basis of India because he licensed a rampant appeal to political Hinduism on the grounds that it was a way of life and religion. Immediately following that matter, the same batch was Manohar Joshi's matter. In Manohar Joshi's matter, he had gone so far as to say that Maharashtra should be the first Hindu state. Now, how to deal with that? So Verma then came up with this idea that this is an aspirational statement. It's not an appeal to religion. He then said, in Prabhu's case, I've already decided that an appeal to Hindutva is not an appeal to religion. And so he let off Manohar Joshi also in the matter. These two